Good morning, everyone. Thank you for making the time to attend this open day virtually. My name is Maano Ramutsindela. I'm the Dean of Science. I thought I would take this opportunity to appreciate you putting aside the time to come and have an overview of what the Science Faculty offers, what it is, and how your daughters and sons might benefit by coming to UCT in 2023. What I'm going to do is to give you an overview of what the faculty offers. But before I do that, I want to give you a sense of how we think about science at UCT. You will have a number of questions that you want to ask. There is a session dedicated for question and answers this afternoon. So I suggest that you write down all the questions that you have as I present, and these will be answered in the sessions dedicated to questions and answers. In the science faculty at UCT, we do offer a number of disciplines. We have 12 departments, all in all, and they offer different programs. But I'm going to take you through how we think about science in the first instance and show you what these departments offers. Some of the departments have got slots in the program today, and you will have the opportunity to go and listen to presentations in those departments. The departments will give you in-depth understanding of what their offerings are and where they're going as a department. We think of science in different ways. And perhaps the more basic understanding of science is that it is one area of intellectual endeavor that is stimulated by wonder. A science that is informed by how people want to understand the world around them, the questions that they ask, and the answers they seek. And as they try to understand the world around them, scientists have to be creative. So there's an element of creativity in the making of scientists. In other words, science is not an accidental endeavor, but it is driven by the inquiry of the mind into the world around us. We want to understand how things work out. When we see aspects of nature of different kinds, we want to see and understand how these work out in their systems. But more increasingly, we're looking for science as a problem solver. There are a number of problems and puzzles in life that make scientists to want to contribute to solving these problems. So science is no longer just a luxury intellectual endeavor or an ivory tower project, but it is deeply involved in solving problems at various scales, from local, national to the global scales. Science is also increasingly being called upon to contribute to improving the quality of life. And so this is what we endeavor to do in the offerings in our science faculty. And if we are to think of science in the human well-being, perhaps the best contribution science is trying to make is to ensure that we've got a longer and healthier life. But we're also using science to monitor our health. But not all of science is about doing all this work it also makes life fun. Of course, we have to do some work, and here you have got a picture of science and UCT staff and students in science joining together to look after the Lisbik River down the road. While it might appear to be hard work, but it is important that we look after our environment in small ways. But in doing so, we also encouraging our students to think of the contribution they could make to society. The contribution they could make to the health of the environment on which our life depends. Of course, we also ensure that we enjoy life by paddling in the rivers that we have around us. More recently, science has also entered into a realm of filmmaking or documentary. We all know the celebrated My Octopus Teacher, which was documented and researched here in the Western Cape. And that brought to the fore the excitement that science can bring, not only to the scientists' endeavor to understand the world and solve problems, but also how we should contribute to the art, how we should contribute to culture. And I think that was a very clear example of science in a multidisciplinary environment. So the whole study of My Octopus Teacher and the scientific research that went behind it was perhaps a clear demonstration of the many avenues that scientists should explore. But we have got societal needs and global challenges that have engulfed us more recently. We all have been involved with trying to understand how to survive COVID-19. And our scientists and others at UCT and in the country and the world have joined hand in trying to understand this threat to human survival. We should also be using science to understand and address inequalities in our society, inequalities within our country, inequalities between countries, and the inequalities that have increasingly changed the world around us. But I think science is known to have been instrumental in changing society. And as we change society, we also change the scientific endeavor. And a clear example of this is perhaps the wars that have been waged in the past and how scientific enterprises were called upon to contribute to resolving some of these wars. But it has also contributed to increasing the wars. And one can not think of the worst example of scientific contribution to wars like nuclear power, biochemical weapons, and so forth, which are now the talk of the day in the current wars in Ukraine, about what else could be used and the danger that those poses. But those are products of science. We also have to be using science to understand our resource consumption and how to manage them. We have got increasing demands on these resources, and we have to think as scientists about the best way in order to ensure that human survival and inequalities within societies can be enhanced. More recently, at the university, we experienced fires, and we began to wonder how we should understand fires as part of the natural environment, but also as a human, as human created. We also have to understand perhaps how these fires should bring to our attention the kind of buildings we should be thinking about in the 21st century. So the challenge that fires have caused not only in this country, but in Australia, in California, and other places, have raised questions about how we should understand fires. Now, I want to move to what we try to do with our students. What we try to do with our students is that we have to take science to the streets, citizen science, so to speak, where we need to ensure that the scientific endeavors, the research that we do, doesn't only end up in publications or in the lecture theatres, but we also take it to the streets to share it with ordinary citizens. But we also have to make sure that we have got a group of students who are committed to improving science at high school. This project was interrupted by COVID, but it is still very much on the agenda of what we want to do as a faculty. But I want to quickly go into how our academic offerings are organized, and I'll take you through the three clusters of disciplines that we have at UCT. And so these clusters are, biology, earth, environmental sciences, chemical, molecular, and molecular sciences, and we also have numerical sciences. From these two clusters, students can choose two majors. Now, in the biology, earth, environmental sciences, we have got archaeology, biology, environmental and geographical science, geology, ocean and atmospheric science, marine biology, and quantitative biology. I know that colleagues in environmental and geographical science, in geology, and in ocean and atmospheric science will be presenting this afternoon. In the chemical, molecular, and cellular sciences, we have got 5 majors: biochemistry, chemistry, genetics, human anatomy, and physiology. In the mathematical, physical, and computational and statistical sciences, we have got 9 majors. I'll explain about these majors in a short while. We have got astrophysics, applied mathematics, applied statistics, mathematics, physics, mathematical statistics, computer science, business computing, and computer engineering. And now the Department of Computer Science will be presenting what they do. Perhaps the biggest question that parents would have, or one of the main questions parents will have, is how do I get into the Faculty of Science at UCT? Now we use the point scores, and perhaps this is very crucial for you to have discussions with the prospective applicants to UCT. The science faculty uses the point scores. Now, key in these point scores are the NSC results. We do consider 6 subjects. The main subjects that perhaps you need to pay attention to and to discuss this with your daughters and sons are maths and physical science, because the scores, the percentage that they get or they obtain for the NSC results are multiplied by 2 for maths and physical science. This means that the chances for getting into the Faculty of Science at UCT are very much dependent on the performance in maths and physical science. But this does not mean that other subjects are not important, because they do contribute to the cumulative score. There's a score of 660, which is a guaranteed entry to UCT. And you can see that in order to have a guaranteed acceptance at UCT, students will have to perform at a higher level. But performance in those 2 subjects are very critical. Now, if we think of a BSc degree, and this is important for you, we said we have got two majors, and these are the majors that students do in the first, second, and third year. You can see that in the third year they do 2 courses, and those will be the majors. So the choice of majors becomes very important. And I would suggest that the choice of majors should be based on considerations of the interest of the applicants and what they are good at, but also the kind of work that they would like to do. And sometimes students spend more time in the system because they're doing something that does not interest them, or they're doing something that they're not good at. And I know it is difficult to know beforehand what people are good at, but interest is a very important element to the success of students. And we have had students who have got ability to do well in other subjects, but they didn't have interest, and this creates some problems in the system. Of course, if one considers the majors, an important question is, what kind of jobs would my daughters or son do after graduating? And this is where it becomes important to choose the majors in line with the prospective career that your daughters and sons might want to pursue. And I've just given you some few lines on the kind of jobs that students who have got BSc degrees do. We do have information about where our students have gone. When they graduate, we do collect this information. So we've got some understanding. What is happening now, and this is the training that happened this week, for example, is that we're beginning to develop skills and innovations in our students so that they can be entrepreneurial scientists. In other words, they should be able to contribute to industry. They should be able to contribute to the economy. They should be able to run their own businesses. And this program was based in astronomy, where students doing astronomy and physics have to think beyond just those subjects. So it is important that we have students who have got skills that can take them beyond their. So I know you will have questions and answers in the afternoon to try and perhaps understand how to get into science faculty. I've put on the screen the emails of people you could write to. So the general science at UCT website, that's where you can post all your questions, even after this open day. Those questions will be answered. If you have got very specific questions for international school living examinations, because we do get students who have completed their schooling somewhere else, and Tasneem will be able to help you with those. So I want to close this short presentation, but I want to encourage you to take your questions and answers to the discussions this afternoon. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy the rest of the open day, and that our colleagues in science will help you to understand some of the disciplines in the presentations that are coming. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day.